This little Snoopy World War I flying ace figure I picked up, probably 5 years ago. I had some other Peanuts characters that more famous brand, I can't even remember what they're called anymore, but they sold right away. And this one has been sitting at $50 for 5 years, and I finally got a $25 offer that I took right away for it. This is a Harley Davidson branded flannel shirt. It's a snap type shirt. And I've had this since the summer when I picked it up at a garage sale for $5. And this one's actually insulated quite nicely. And I thought come winter it would sell, but it took until midwinter here to finally go. Actually, it sold last week. Kind of funny. A guy from Canada put in a $25 offer on it, and I decided to take that. And then about an hour or two later, he asked to cancel the sale. Said something about he thought it was a youth size, which is probably not a truthful statement. I didn't care, but I'm sure he just got the total with shipping and import tax and decided he didn't want to pay that much. And just a week later, it sells for full price, $40. Another 7-inch reel-to-reel tape sold. This is the Doors 13, sort of a best of. And I didn't even bother fixing the box on this one because I knew, being it was the Doors, that it would be very worthwhile. And sure enough, it sold for $100. This pair of Red Wing Model 903s I found at a garage sale for $1. The toes have been dipped in some sort of plastic material or something to, I guess, protect or maybe to cover up a worn toe on them. It's got some other things. It was funny, the guy wrote me after he bought them, and one of the things he said was he wished more people would write descriptions like I did. So I had to go back and look at my description, and I guess I pointed out that it was missing one of the lace hoops or hooks, and but you could still thread it right through the hole. And you know, I described them as worn, includes some sock fuzz, but they still sold for $35. Another 7-inch reel tape sold. This one also the Doors, but this was recorded by someone else off some albums. Got some good titles on there, Procol Harum, some Bob Dylan, and this one just sold for $20. I've had this spirograph set up for sale for quite some time, probably 7-8 months. It is complete. It's even got the pens, although they don't work anymore. The ink is dried up, but it does have all the wheels or gears. The backing board, the instructions, and the box is in great shape. And I was able to sell this for $30. This is a Motor Max Fresh Cherries die-cast HO scale black Mustang 2, and it sold for $10. Another 7-inch reel-to-reel tape sold. This one is Concertos Under the Stars. I don't know anything about this. I mean, it was fine to listen to, looking for any defects in the audio, but kind of just played it in the background, both sides. That way I can state that it works just fine. Got a long letter from a guy, or message from a guy, wondering about the bass quality, this and that. He saw another one on eBay for sale that he wrote, the guy, and he was offering him a such and such price, and just looking for a discount off a $15 tape. I just wrote him back. I said, look, I'm not going to pull this out of my library and listen to it again. If you want it, you can have it for $10. So that's what it sold for. Well, I was packing up that cheap tape. This Ray Charles 2-volume all-time great hits or performances sold for $50. If you're ever selling these tapes, here's something I always do is I cut a small piece of painter's tape and put it on the back of the lead, and tape it to the side of the reel. That way it won't unspool. Many times these will unspool and it looks like a mess when you somebody opens it up after receiving it. Again, this Ray Charles tape sold for 50 bucks. I found this Gibson Skylark tube amplifier on a online auction. One of those auction houses that puts all their stuff up online only. And it came with a Tiesco Del Rey guitar. And the bidding got kind of high, but I won the bid at $200 because I knew this little Gibson Skylark amp, even if it wasn't working, would be worth that much, and the guitar is going to be worth probably at least $300. But when I got it home, I noticed that everything was just perfect on it. No tears in the black Tolex covering, no snags or holes in the grill. When I plugged it in, I got a hum, which is typical, but it was a little louder than I had hoped for. So I thought I'm going to have to replace the filter caps. But I decided to pull the tubes and clean the sockets with some deoxit spray, put the tubes back in, and it worked just perfect, just quiet. I made a video of it, put it up for sale for $600, which is quite a bit more than these have sold for in the past, although not many have sold, or not many have been available for sale. Somewhat rare. And by the next morning, there were like 10 watchers on it, over 100 views. And then a day later, a guy wrote me a message, said he'd give me $500 for it. I almost took it right then and there, but I decided to write him back with an offer of $560, saying I had so many people watching it right now that I had just put it up for sale. And today, the next day, he bought it, $560. What I do with amps like this, I've sold them in the past, I just pull the tubes and wrap them up real careful and put them in a box. There's plenty of tube diagrams online on the order that they go back into the sockets. Just a little bit being more careful with something this expensive as well. Another 8-track head cleaning cartridge. This is a brand I'd never heard of, Lebo. And this is just a head cleaner. Doesn't have the double-headed capstan cleaner on it as well. So I priced this one at this one just at $18, a couple bucks cheaper than the other ones I've sold. And it only took about a week or so to sell. This is a postcard, sort of a lithograph postcard of state capital of Florida. I bought a bunch of these not long after Jay interviewed, I believe it's John Miller, Popeye's postcards. And I thought, well, I could do that too, but I think you have to be very diverse like John is, with all sorts of different topics and different types of postcards. I just bought a lot of capitals, and I've only sold a couple so far, and let's see, this one just sold for $4. I think it's mostly because my shipping is high, because I have to charge the minimum first class to retain tracking, and that's what causes, I think, the length in time of trying to sell these postcards. Been working on a few clocks the last couple of days. This Kit Kat clock I got at an auction. It's a 1940s model. And this Copal digital flip clock, making a lot of noise, but got it to quiet down. Speaking of parts, another part sold from a Marantz amplifier. Kind of a low-end amplifier, 2220, but it's from the 70s, and people do like to restore those Marantz amps from the 70s. This is the balance control with the knob, and I was able to sell this for $50. This is a mid-1970s model of the Goodyear blimp. I found this at a little vintage shop that he sometimes advertised on Facebook Marketplace, and he actually had up for sale about 5 lineman belts he wanted $5 a piece for, and I know I've sold those for $100 or more. And so I went there to buy those, and I did buy them. But I decided to look around, and I picked up a few other things to bundle together. He kind of runs his shop like a garage sale almost. Sort of calls it, I think, a hillbilly repurpose is what the name is. In any case, this model was there, and it looked like it was unassembled. Still, the instructions and a few of the parts are still sealed. I couldn't get an accurate count because I didn't want to open up the assembly instructions to see what parts came with it, but I listed it that way in the eBay listing, and put it up for $40, and only took a couple of days to sell. Another game piece from the Across the Continent game sold. The last of my little Zephyr train pieces, this is the blue one, sold for $5. These are a couple of moldings from a Mustang Ghia 1976 model, and just, door moldings, a particular color. They're in pretty good shape, so I put them up for $80, and they took a few months to sell, but got full price for them.